Well, hello, hello, and hello. I've never done that before. Welcome to the RuPaul's Drag Race recap here over at RHAP. We know reality TV. Beth had to handle some business this week, so I asked my very good friend and very good co-host who helped me out a lot with getting this all set up today, Matt Liguori, to talk about episodes 13 and 14 of season 18 of Drag Race. Yes, we're doubling up this week. We apologize for the delay, but we're here and we're both queer. And we're
Hey.
go. Matt, how are you?
I'm good. I'm good. I mean, if you asked me this last week, I would not say I'm good. So I'm not sure if I'm still good or not. But this has been one of the most talked about Drag Race seasons in a minute. I feel like the results, obviously from last week, that we'll talk about today, are a big part of that. As we look ahead to a final three coming up, which is also not something that happens every day these seasons. So there is a lot to get into. It's not, I think, a group of queens, just to get right into it here, not a group of queens that I saw all at the end here, whether we're talking final five, four, or three.
Mhm.
But it's definitely kept us on our toes all the way through. So I'm excited to get in here and chat about it with you.
Well, to touch down on this season with you, how have you been feeling thus far? What were your early favorites? What has sort of been surprising to you, unsurprising to you? How have you been feeling about season 18 so far?
The crazy thing about this season, again, it's been shocker after shocker after shocker, and it's felt very intentional that the elimination order has gone this way in my mind. I mean, I think it starts with Vita's elimination, where it's like you go back and look, all of our perceptions of these queens at the beginning of the season is always going, they're always going to be based on the first one, two episodes, and you're like, oh, this one is one to beat. So like I had put together like my final four of who I expected to be there at the end, and I said Jane, I said Vita, I thought Mia was going to make it to the end, and I thought Nini Coco after the first couple of episodes, and then one by one. They're gone. They're gone. They're gone. Obviously, we still have Nini here at the end from that group, but
Mhm.
just watching Vita get eliminated, it made sense when it happened, but it still felt like a shock. Mia then goes, and I'm like, okay, I guess this makes sense seeing how the season's played out, but let's see how the rest of it goes. Athena's gone. I'm like, oh wow, just like
Yeah.
the narrators are going, the big characters are going.
Yeah.
But what's Kenya still doing here? She's been fun. She's been whatever. They kept like they felt like they were forecasting her elimination, but then she made it farther than I expected. But then she's gone, and then Discord is this big character. So it's just been like bigger names than I thought would go deeper into the season. It's been all over the place. So I think I was enjoying it for the most part, expecting, like I think a lot of us were, the Jane don't march to the end. And then that really halted us in our tracks last week, which again, we're going to talk about today. So it's been a wild ride.
Yeah, no, I agree. I do think that a lot of what we were expecting from this season when the cast list first dropped was, oh, more seasoned queens, a lot of people that are 30 plus. This should be a fairly interesting season. And not that it hasn't been, but the ones that you would expect to sort of make it further along in this competition have been have been getting chopped off at the knees fairly quickly, and it leaves us wondering where this season's story is supposed to go. And then with last week's episode, I really feel like the producers have sort of lost the plot. Not to bury the lead, Jane
That's the
don't went
lead.
home.
Yeah, that's the lead. I mean, can you tell me what did you think? What did you feel? How did your day continue when you found out the result?
I okay, so I famously on a lot of these shows am so against predictability. I'm so against, things sort of being paint by numbers and just drawn out. I really like for things to feel more organic than they do. And of course, I guess that's a fool's errand when you're watching Drag Race because we know how formulaic it is. But at the same time, for someone to do so well in Jane Don't, to be never in the bottom, pretty much always in the top, to then be in the bottom one time and go home, I have to question what we're doing here. I have to question the validity of the competition. And I know that we've done that season after season, but this one in particular feels to be one of the most egregious examples. Like, I wasn't even rooting for Jane Don't like that. Matt can tell you, I was one to be rooting for more like Darlene and Discord. Like, but all of a sudden, she gets one time in the bottom, and I don't even think that it was a challenge in which she did that horribly in.
It was a very bad challenge for the final five. I'm sure we'll talk about it. It was like all of them did okay, in my opinion. Like all of them did the best of what they could have done.
They followed the prompt as well as they could.
It was basically like given how they all did, like Ru could have very easily put anyone in the bottom two and it would have made sense, which makes the fact that Jane Don't ends up in the bottom two and then ends up going home all avoidable.
It feels like targeted harassment or just like one of those things where, okay, Ru obviously has an idea of how he wants the season to plan out, right? Like he has his favorites. Ru always has his favorites. And I guess Jane just was not fitting the bill for him. And I just think that it's rather unfortunate. You know, I just it makes the competition feel a little bit more hollow. And you know, we'll go through the episode as it panned out, but I can't help but think, like, you know, was I rooting for Jane Don't to win? Not necessarily. But am I happy that she got eliminated in the manner in which she did? No.
Not even getting a chance to be in the finale, like of all things. And so I'm trying to not like completely repeat thoughts. So Scally and I talk a lot about Drag Race on our patron podcast for free agents. So I might be stealing some of Scally's thoughts, and sorry, Scally.
No, let us know. What was Scally thinking?
I think we were talking a lot about like, so if this is how, you know, we complain about the predictability season after season, and you know, it's like, oh, this is the front runner, and the front runner basically just seems like they have a pass to the end based on how many wins that they've gotten along the way and all that kind of stuff. It's like, should they just be free to get to the end without, like, if you lose a lip sync, should you be immune to going home? Should it have to be that there's a double Shantae and both of you get to stay just because the winner of the season, and I'm making air quotes if you're not watching us live or on video, that the winner of the season, who's perceived to be that person, is in the bottom and they lost, blah, 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 blah. But it should be this way. It should, right? Or should it, is the question. Do you want your Drag Race to be that the formula of the show is that anyone on any given week can lose a challenge, end up in the bottom two, get into a lip sync, lose the lip sync, and go home, even if you are perceived to be the best of the season? It's a little bit, and what I had been thinking about it is like, it turns it a little bit more into the Survivor drag, Big Brother of it all, that like anyone can go home if the power shifts, if the vote goes not their way, that even if you're the best player out there, perceived to be the best player out there, you can still go home if you mess up a single round of gameplay. And Drag Race has not always been that. There's been so many examples across the history of the show, but definitely in the recent seasons where somebody loses a lip sync. I mean, are we gonna, do we have to go that far back? I think Anya Nerve last season had a lip sync that everyone was like, I don't know if she won that one. She still goes on to win the season. So it happens. But it's a matter of like, do we all feel like, whether it's us, the judges, RuPaul, like that it should be that way? Or are we trying to get it off of being that way? Is the future of the show going to be that anyone can go home at any time? Because maybe that is a good thing, but it's not what we're used to. And that's why I think it shook everybody up so much.
I think if things were consistent across the board, this would not be as hard as a blow as it is right now. I think that we repeatedly see a flip-floppy nature between production or RuPaul's decision, where someone that can absolutely smash the lip sync and still suck goes home, or someone who absolutely smashed the lip sync and did a fairly better job than the other person they're lip syncing against can stay. Like, there's no consistency across how this competition works. Like, my famous example, I always bring it up, is Miss Cracker versus Cameron Michaels. Like, did Miss Cracker need to go home when she was performing so much better in the competitions than Cameron Michael? At that point in time, RuPaul said, yeah, I want to keep seeing Cameron. So it really feels sometimes like it is just about who she likes better in the moment. And that's fine. I mean, it's RuPaul's Drag Race, but at the same time, it makes me very scared for the future of the show because I'm like, what are we doing?
It's just
What
the
are
format
we
of the
doing?
show, obviously, whether it's the finale or the end of every episode, the results comes out of a lip sync. It comes out of a performance. It comes out of what can you go out there to whatever song you're assigned. Sometimes you get to pick, maybe if it's the finale, you spin the wheel, whatever. But whatever song you get, what performance you can give in that moment. And Drag Race as a whole, the entirety of the show is showcasing so many different skills. We're here in, the final two main challenges of the season, and they're both acting challenges. And none of that has to do with lip syncing. I mean, it's different types of performing, but showing off your skills in both of those ways. And they're telling us that Jane did, was in the bottom of last week's acting challenge. So it's not like you can say, or I guess they don't want you to say, well, she did great in that one anyway, and you still sent her home from a lip sync. There's just so
Right.
many different facets of of drag that are represented on this show. But the one that matters the most at the end of the day, the win or loss, is based on your lip sync. So that's why Cameron Michaels can win, win herself halfway through the season, despite being perceived as, not as good as some of the other girls in whatever other categories. So
But then you have somebody like Monet Exchange who clearly beats Jinx Monsoon in that final lip sync, but Jinx still wins. So
Jinx is the winner of the competition, maybe not the winner of that lip sync, but if it's close enough, we can just say the result that we want.
right, it's just I don't know, man. I again like it's a weird feeling because I don't like predictability and the way that it was heading. It did really feel like Jane sort of had this in the bag. But if that's the case, then like so be it. It's not like Jane was like gifted those wins
No.
a lot of the time. The girl is just talented. So and I don't know, like RuPaul, if you wanted some spice, then again, I think it all goes back to the casting. Stop casting queens that you know aren't going to do well, but made you laugh one good time. And so you put them on the season, and then you're shocked as to why they're in the bottom 3 weeks in a row. It's like, are we casting for people that actually like know what Drag Race is about, actually know what the craft is, know where their point of view is, know how to deliver a look, know how to perform, know how to act, know how to have a talent, can make you like, are we casting for that, or are we just casting for any old body in this community? And again, that's fine because like we love to see the gays on TV. We all love it, but at what expense are we costing this competition?
I
That's
hear
all
you
we're
on that.
saying.
I would say I don't personally feel like it's totally on the casting. I think there are definitely times where a queen shows up that you're like, you don't seem super prepared for this, and maybe this wasn't your time to be on the show, but maybe they also want that person on the show to kind of like mix it up a little bit. Like not everybody is going to be the star of the season. I do think it's a little bit more of the show having an identity crisis about like what do we want out of our winner? What do we want out of the next Drag Race superstar? Because as we like look ahead to what this finale is going to be with this final three, I think it's even shifted this past week as to what the fan base wants. I don't know why like hold back on what I'm trying to say. I think that we've been looking at like, okay, Jane is the front runner. Jane's going to win. Okay, Jane's gone now. Mikey Meeks, she's been killing it all season. She's got these wins
Mhm.
lined up. She's going to get another one this week. She's the front runner. She's going to win. And there was a huge shift this week, and I'm on board. I'm wearing Mickey Mouse for her today for the breakfast Mickey Mouse herself, Darlene Mitchell. I'm on board. I want Darlene to win, and I think that a lot of fans this week jumped on that ship as well. I think the edit had a big part to do with that, but it was just like I think we all thought that we were going towards, again, the Jane win, maybe then the Mikey win of just like the most understandably talented, or not talented, the most understandable win of just like who did the best, who did the the best in the challenges, who performed best overall, all points and track record considered. But then you get to the finale and you're like looking around at what the next Drag Race superstar is going to look like and be and bring to all of us, and just this energy that Darlene has, and just like the laughs and the stupidness that Darlene has brought out, especially in the back half of the season, I think people are really clinging on to. So it's like you can go anywhere with who wins this season, but I guess because we're also trained to look for, like, that's what to me Anya was. Anya was the best. She was just all around the most well-rounded. And so maybe there was better lip syncers or this or that. So it was just, this is Anya's season. And this season obviously has become a lot more of like, oh, this could be anyone's season. Even, I don't know, maybe Nini Kokos coming into this finale is like a little bit in third place somehow after starting off the season so strong, but she could still win. I feel like she's been turning out some good lip syncs. So I don't know what's going on.
Yeah, I mean, no, I hear you, and I agree with what you're saying. I guess my main point of contention is always just going to be like, let's try to make this as consistent as possible. But
Mhm.
you know, it's RuPaul's Drag Race, so it's a fool's errand, right?
We got a
So
lot going on around here. Again, I've never seen so much discourse of this show, and I'm paying attention every season to the discourse, but I just feel like
yeah,
a lot of people have a lot of things to say this time around, and obviously we know why. These eliminations have been crazy.
yeah. So let's talk about episode 13 before we move on to 14. You know, it was the which
Karen's gone wild.
Karen's Gone Wild. I could not think of it for a second. And the mini challenge was the puppets, which was a complete disaster. The
Shout
mini
out to the
challenge,
crew. They all got tips out of it.
they did. Shout out to
That
them.
was great. Rue said, "You all sucked. You all bombed, but this money's got to go somewhere." We get a camera shot of the crew that are all just like, "Hey," and they took
It's like,
home
finally, we get a raise.
yeah.
You haven't paid us in months.
Ah.
But yes, we've seen this challenge before where the queens will choose one of their other queens to impersonate in puppet form, and it's sort of kind of like a spin-off of the reading challenge, in my
Yeah.
opinion, where you kind of just you roast your sisters while being your sister. And yeah, there really weren't too many stand-up performances in this one. I mean, Mikey had a few zingers in there.
Even Jane thought she was doing well, and she was like, "Oh, this is going well," and then she has that confession of like, "Oh, everyone's looking at me crazy, so I guess this isn't going well."
Yeah.
They were all aware of how much they were bombing it, and I was like, "This is why." When like the teacher will I don't know, just like shut class down or something and like do something drastic because everyone failed the test or everyone's not paying attention. And it's like, well, we're going to do this instead. Is this the moment that Rue decided Jane's going home? It was like, all right, if none of you can get your act together, if you're all going to do horrible in a mini challenge with puppets, then Jane, you're out of here. I don't know. But it was kind of funny to watch them all fall on their faces. Final five.
Yeah, no, it really did. It did feel like that. And I mean, I guess part of that is like, girl, I mean, Rue, you're continuously passing on some queen that is not good at this kind of stuff. Like, what? You thought that Juicy was going to all of a sudden wake up in week whatever the hell 13 and be like,
blow you away?
wasn't going to happen. But yeah, I mean, I think again, it's sort of like showed us that these queens, some of them aren't as well equipped for like the improv acting side of
well, hey, it's a good thing the entire end of this competition is all improv and all acting.
Yeah, amazing. But like Juicy was very self-aware about that as well. She was like, look, like y'all are making me do this again. Like, it can't just be something that I'm good at.
I can't sing. Like, what?
Right? Like, what are we doing here? And so we move on to the main challenge here, which is, as Matt mentioned, Karen's Gone Wild, which RuPaul admits that he's addicted to Karen videos.
Yeah, Karen talk.
Yeah, and he loves watching, I guess, Karens, white women in particular, crash out over various inconveniences, and he wanted to have the queens reenact that, and that's where we are.
I mean, I guess you have to start with just, I thought this was such a stupid challenge. I mean, let me take that back a little bit. I thought it would have been fun. I love watching the queens interact with Rue, and Rue just getting to like be a part of the show a little bit more and act and just like, just be there, be more present. Especially doing the one-on-ones. I thought that was a fun dynamic, but I think it would have been more fun with shorter scenes, because a lot of them dragged on too long to the point where I was like, is this bad or is it just too much of it all? So I think that maybe if this was, I don't know, final 8 or final 9 or something like that, and we got to, but she's not going to, change characters 8 times to do this with 8 different queens. So 5 times I'm sure was her limit. But overall, the scenes, like I said, just because of the length for me, ended up all just feeling like I was waiting for them to end. They definitely, like,
Yeah.
all 5 of them had funny moments. And I agreed with some of the judges' critiques along the way about, some of them weren't giving enough of the stereotypical Karen. Some of them were really good. Some of them were like Mikey got some credit for, and obviously ends up winning this one because she switched back and forth between like various different Karen tactics and strategies there. So I feel like I agreed with some of that. But again, final 5, final 4, I want to hear the verses. I want to hear the song. I want to download the hit.
Yeah.
Maybe they're not all hits, but like that's what I want at the end of the show. Maybe not the
Yeah.
hits.
Yeah. No, I agree. I think that this challenge isn't really showing us, it isn't really revealing to us like what these queens can do, because
Yeah.
we're already kind of well aware of who's an actor, who's an improv artist, and who's not. And so yeah, I think that this challenge was quite bizarre, but anything to make Rue happy. So
Yeah.
we have Juicy, who's playing parking stop Karen, Darlene, who is playing, what was it, shoplifting Karen, Mikey Meeks is traffic stop Karen, Jane is, what was she, late for her flight?
Yeah.
And then Nini is the neighborhood watcher, HOA Karen. And yeah, do you have a Karen that you would most dread out of these 5?
Most dread.
Mhm.
Probably I think, well, so before I saw shoplifting Karen, I might dread that one because it's like, look, we're just trying to do our job here, and maybe there's a bunch of the characters that Rue was playing that are just trying to do their job until one of these nice women come along wanting to make your life difficult. But then when Darlene as shoplifting Karen was doing her thing, I was like, actually, I want to go hang out with her. Can I leave my work position and go? Let's just go hang out somewhere. She was a lot of fun. And again, just a moment for me for watching Darlene of just like, oh, she's really, really hitting her stride at this end game. She's just having fun. RuPaul was breaking character time after time after time because Darlene was making her laugh. So I loved that one. But that's just personal preference.
Mhm.
I was annoyed. I was not annoyed with Jane, or I guess I was a little thrown off. And again, I still don't think that she should have been in the bottom, but I think she kind of contradicted herself. She sounded like she was trying to make the character not just like the Karen that rolls around and loses it. And then she rolled around on the floor and kind of lost it. So there was a little bit of like, that's not what I thought you were going for. But I did still enjoy it more than, honestly, all of them besides Darlene. I don't know. They were all so close. It was really close as far as like splitting hairs.
It was a hard metric. It was a hard metric. It's like, are we, I mean, obviously it's improv, so like the ultimate goal is laughs and comedy, but how much Karen are we supposed to be? And I kind of felt for these queens because it's like, Karens are notoriously not desirable. So it's like you're having to take shit and make it shine. So I guess that's like the real challenge here is like to really try to make a Karen funny as hell. So and it's like you like have to like ride a very weird line with some of these queens because like the majority of these queens are white girls, right? Which is why I'm like, okay, well, you got the visuals down, but in terms of like actually going through with the mannerisms, there's a very fine line that you can only walk without it becoming very offensive. So I kind of like felt for the girls in the sense that like, how much can we do that is going to actually like register as comedy, and how much of it is going to be like, okay, this is just weird. But I do agree with what you said in that Mikey sort of like really leaned into trying to embody many of the archetypes and many of the traits and many of the patterns, avoidance, acting like she's hurt, acting like she doesn't understand what's going on. Like, did I laugh at Mikey? Not really. Did I laugh at any of them? No, not really. I thought that this challenge was just very bizarre in general, but I guess Mikey did the best.
It's so
Maybe
close.
Darlene, because Darlene was definitely making RuPaul laugh a lot more, just being
Yeah, I
wacky
mean,
and
that's like again where Michelle was saying like it wasn't Karen as much. What did she call her specifically? She said
I can't
it
remember.
was more good Christian woman than it was a Karen.
Yeah,
Which yeah, but like also she made me laugh the most. But they were trying to be really specific about who did the best at being a Karen there. I mean, Juicy, and I thought Juicy was good. I don't think everybody was on the same page as me as like enjoying Juicy here, but when she like pretends she got hit by the car, she just like ends up on the ground. I don't know, maybe because we saw her do it first before Jane Don't was rolling around on the ground that I enjoyed it. But and then Mikey putting her fist in her mouth was funny. But again, you had to do what Rue was telling you to do. Like you had to work
yeah,
off of
yeah.
her and work with her
It
in
really
order to make
felt
the
like
scene work.
dance monkey dance a lot of the time, which wasn't great. But
Right.
I mean, how do we? I mean, Jane is late for her flight. Karen, like, was it that bad?
It wasn't. It was like I get what they were saying of just like it. I guess
Not
it was
playful
giving them
enough? More canned bits?
more like
Too
a White Lotus
cerebral?
character rather than a Karen, which a White Lotus character can easily be a Karen on any given day. But um, I don't know. I think maybe they were mostly concerned about the fact that we were just talking about, you know, interacting with Rue and taking Rue's suggestions along the way. Yes, and obviously the number one rule of improv. And maybe Jane wasn't doing that as much. Like when Rue says, "I have a 250-pound woman here," and then Jane just kind of let that happen and didn't make a thing about it. It was like, well, maybe you missed that a little bit.
Yeah,
But you probably could have edited any of them to see that. It's whatever.
yeah. The the competition before this was the family resemblance one, which was also very confusing. This competition is sort of like following suit in that. So I mean, we've already kind of like talked about at the top of this episode about how we feel about the judging and how much of a weight there is on Jane's performance as opposed to the others. So, we get to the bottom two of this episode, and it is Nini Coco
Did you want me
and
to pull up the runways yet, or is that
oh yeah, let's do that. Let's talk about their looks. Sorry, I got carried away.
I got the keys here today. So let me see. Hopefully this is all good to go. I think so. Yeah, we got the runways for this episode. Don't worry, we're not completely unprepared here. But unfortunately for you, I think I'm just going to completely turn it over to you because just like when I do Dancing with the Stars coverage, and I'm like, I'm going to leave the assessing of the dance itself mostly to the judges. I'm not the fashion guy here, so take it away.
Yeah,
Mikey Meeks.
I think, as we said, I think that she did an okay job with being a Karen. I think that she probably had the most fun with it, had many levels, and sort of like had many places to land. So I think that's ultimately like why she was able to win. I think RuPaul always harps on people not taking things too seriously. And so I think that it makes a lot of sense why she was, you know, more RuPaul speed in terms of this look. And I'm forgetting what the name of this runway was.
This was From Wholesome to Folsom.
Wholesome to thank you. Yeah, I mean, I'm not a big fan of the first look. I feel like it swallows her up. I feel like it doesn't, because this is one of those reveal runways where we know that the reveal is like already, like the reveal isn't a reveal at this point. We
Yeah,
know
it's
what's
part
going
of
to
it.
happen. And so I do think that the first part of it was like, okay, uh, I feel like she only really cared a lot about like the Folsom part of it. So yeah, wholesome, fine, I
All right.
guess, but
Well, it worked for them. Darlene Mitchell. It's P.
yeah, no, no. This one, I'm like, okay, here we go. This is what I'm talking about. The glitterified pea, the 50s housewife wholesome part of it. Yeah, makes a lot of sense. Makes a lot of sense. I thought that
Dripping in
this,
pee down that runway. When they went to, they opened up the next episode and they were all like giving themselves like their nicknames or whatever. And she just yelled, "Piss!" I lost it.
yeah,
Juicy is she goes from Alice in Wonderland to I guess I don't know if she called it the Cheshire Cat, but to a cat.
yeah, yeah. Definitely quite the contrast. So the Disney fan in me is going to love that. I don't necessarily know if I get Folsom. I think I just get Alice and Sexy Cheshire.
It's just funny because in the next episode, Juicy's talking to the other team about like, oh, you guys are giving Disney, and Mikey's like, all she knows is Disney, and so flashback one episode, we got Alice in Wonderland here. We also had Nini Coco giving some New York drag, even though I don't think she's a New York girl. But hey, Statue of Liberty, they have them all over the place.
Yeah, this is great. I love that she knows her history and she knows that the Statue of Liberty was not always this green that we have come to know it as. It was delivered to us as gold, or bronze rather, and then it oxidized and became what we know it as today. So I do appreciate that through line. And yeah, I do think, you think Statue of Liberty, land of the free, home of the brave, very wholesome, and then you strip it down to a bra and some tighties. Yeah, I'm here for it. I'm here for it.
And unfortunately, this look for Jane Don't has become rather, I guess, iconic. I don't know if that's good or bad, just given the fact that this screenshot of Jane being eliminated in this look, I feel like is what is going to stick in my mind and probably many of our minds for forever. When you think back on Jane getting eliminated, it's the top picture here. If you're watching us on YouTube, that is like that somewhat of a smile that Jane has that turns into just like, what the hell just happened?
Yeah.
But otherwise here, she starts in this white dress. She was calling herself a bit of a widow. And then all of a sudden she's pouring hot wax all over her breasts and she's going for it. It just wasn't enough.
Yeah, I mean, I feel for her because even in her exit after all of this, after the lip sync and everything, you can just tell that she's like, y'all, this is bullshit. They have me fucked up. Like, she doesn't really give much of an exit line. The look is fine, I guess. I mean, I don't think she's scoring a lot of points with the look. I do think that the first one is sort of like, we know what's happening. So I don't think that there is much of a storytelling aspect to this one. But even so, I think, I mean, we've already talked about it ad nauseam at this point. I just, yeah.
But after all said and done, Mikey's the winner. Bottom two, you were getting to earlier. Nini Coco and Jane Don't.
Yeah. Nini Coco, Jane Don't. I mean, that backflip handspring type deal, whatever the hell she did, won her that damn lip sync. It's gonna be a trick and a dip and a dive a lot of the time. Not this latest episode, but a lot of the time it's going to be a trick and a dip and a dive. Did Nini beat her in that lip sync? Yes. Did Jane beat Nini in the competition as a whole? Yes. So I guess you just have to figure out like what you value more.
Nini's confessional before the lip sync, I did think was like really good TV. Like she says something along the lines of like, for the first time in the competition, the spectacular Jane Don't is up for elimination, and that's bad news for her because she's up against me. And
as soon as she said that, I was like, oh.
I was like, oh, I like the confidence here. Like, I like the fact that even though Nini's about to get sent home, she's feeling really confident in herself because she's not afraid. And like, you shouldn't be afraid. You got to go in there with all the confidence. But still thought that this was not going to end this way. Plus, it was Garden of Eden by Lady Gaga, and I'm like, oh, dressed like that. Yeah. Jane Don't is going to win a Lady Gaga lip sync. Absolutely. But then I guess the New Yorker in Gaga was also represented by Nini Coco, and so it was a tough battle. Two Gagas on stage, and only one can survive. Yeah, like you said, Nini won the lip sync. There's really no doubt about that. Jane, I thought, was still good. It still probably beats plenty of other girls in like doing the exact same thing if Nini was just not the opponent there. But Nini just was better at the end of the day, and that's what RuPaul said was that's what we're going off of. No track record, no nothing, no front runner to win. Shock everybody, shock Jane, shock us all, and you lost today. You're going home.
Side note: are you a fan of Lady Gaga's album, Mayhem?
Yeah. I mean, I feel like it's tough for me as a Gaga fan. I don't know that I will ever find something that matches the Fame monster
The
like the
Fame
early
Monster.
days.
Yeah.
So I feel like every time there's a new album, I'm always like, is it going to give me that? And like, yeah, it's going to be hard to match like just that early, but it's I like Mayhem.
I mean, you were also like, significantly younger then as well. Like,
Yeah,
it's not gonna hit the same.
it's just different. But yeah, I mean, I'll take all of Gaga's new music anytime.
I am glad for more Mayhem on Drag Race because we already did get Disease, which was the first lead single for Mayhem, and
Yeah.
now we get second single in Out to Take You to the Garden of Eden. Oh, it's my jam.
It was fun.
Love it. Love it.
I just
love
also,
it.
besides the fact that Jane goes home here, I thought this was crazy. I mean, again, Jane and Nini pretty much front runners from the beginning of the competition. Nini
Mhm.
wins the first week, Jane wins the second. So it's like, I think we all really lock in on those first weeks and those first wins, thinking that like those are locks to go to the end of the season. And so when they're up against each other, it was kind of crazy. So that
Yeah.
happens.
I
And
mean, it's the big gag that they wanted, right? Like we always know that there's going to be a gag lip sync every season, whether it be two twins lip syncing against each other, whether it be a drag mother and daughter lip syncing against each other, whether it be two front runners lip syncing against each other. We have to have at least one every season because we have had multiple this season. We've had drag
yeah,
mom and daughter. We've had front runner. Like it's the gag of the season. It's just the problem is when you have too many gags, the gag reflex goes away and you just take it all in.
that's what they
Okay,
always
so.
say. My question
But
to you,
anyway, go ahead.
when
Sorry.
we get into the next episode, Juicy. So obviously the mood is down. Everyone's like feeling crazy that they just watched Jane don't go home. Nobody thought this was going to happen.
Mhm.
Juicy's like, oh, everyone's all upset. Everyone's devastated. I'm like, no, you're not. you just.
No.
You were just given an opportunity to win RuPaul's Drag Race that you did not otherwise have because we all thought, including all four of you, that Jane was going to win. So all of them just saw an opportunity for themselves to win. Of course, I understand that they've gotten so close, and a lot of them relied on Jane. They leaned on her, and she was there for them, and yada yada yada, cute, cute, cute. But
damn, Matt. Damn.
you all just saw your opportunity to win open right up.
I mean, yeah, I think it's two things can be true at the same time, right? Like, I think obviously it's like, oh, bitch, thank you. It's kind of like that moment when Monet sent Manila Luzon home during All Stars 4, and Trinity is like, that was shady as fuck, but thank you. Like, I get it. Like, we all get it. Like, yes, like it's your chances go up, but a lot of the queens have been coming out this past week and saying like, no, y'all don't understand just how supportive Jane was, how much she like lent, her assistance and, let us borrow different garments, wigs, stuff like that. So it just feels like not only was Jane just like a force in the competition, she was also just a kind person and just happy to be there and happy to like make friends and make family. So yeah, I'm sad that they, lost a sister, and you could really feel it. You could feel it in that next episode where it's like someone who like takes up so much space in the room, and not only that, but someone who isn't happy to take up space in the room then goes, you're like, oh damn, this feels weird now.
And real quick, I saw some people like adding Jane on Twitter, who she was like up and down on her social media last week, sometimes using it, sometimes not. People saying, don't accept that All Stars call. They don't deserve you. Do you think she should say yes when the time comes? If they're going to call her.
Yeah, I think she should say yes, because even if she doesn't win, who cares? Like at this point, like the people who know, right? Like real fans of the show, we know that RuPaul and production is on bullshit half the time. Like we get it. Like no one is really, I mean, I won't say no one, but I would like to think that the majority of us really don't care about that title that much. Like there are plenty of queens that have never won that will be successful, and it doesn't matter, right? So if they call you for All Stars, maybe not next season, maybe not All Stars. What are we on? 11, 12? What are we on?
10, 11? No, 11. I don't know.
I think we're
10
on
or
11.
11.
I think 10 was the latest one. If they call you for 11, Jane, I would say maybe hold off for a little bit. 12, yes, just go back. If you don't win, who cares? It's probably already rigged anyways. Who cares?
That's the problem. It's like, why waste all your time? I mean, I know that it's like still one of the, if not the, biggest platforms to, get yourself out there as a drag artist. But it's like, if they played you once, fool me once, shame on, what is it? Fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. She goes back and the same thing happens. She's going to be so mad at herself. So I imagine she definitely needs some time, but that's besides the point.
Yeah. All right, so episode 14 this past week, baby. We're at the final four. We've got Nini, we've got Juicy. Wow. We've got Darlene. And we've got Mikey Meeks, baby, all heading or vying to head into the finale. The maxi challenge for this week is the fated Good Morning Bitches. Was this first shown on All Stars 9? Was that the one with Naya Rivera? May she rest in peace. We love her. And they completely bombed it, and Naya was sitting there like, is this the part where I get up now? Like, what's going on? Like, they embarrassed us, Queen. They embarrassed us. And yeah, so we turn to this idea of the queens pairing up into pairs. They're kind of anxious over who they're going to pair up with because, there's been some faded outcomes with improv with one of these queens in particular. So I really feel like it was just a game of who's going to avoid Juicy first. And it so happens that Mikey and Darlene avoided Juicy first and left Nini in the dust.
Look, I thought these pairs were pretty worthwhile. I mean, obviously much more worthwhile for Mikey and Darlene, who, if you didn't expect them to win when this whole thing started, I don't know what you were thinking. I figured that this was going to be the winning pair before even seeing their scenes. But of course it ends up working out that way. I feel like if they split up, it is probably going to be Juicy, no matter what team Juicy's on, that does the worst here. And that's not to say that Juicy's like a horrible actor, improv, whatever. But just like of the group that we are at here, the top four, she does stand out a little bit below at least Mikey and Darlene, Nini, whatever. But I thought that both of these pairs did a pretty good job. Obviously, they have to edit the Nini and Juicy as poorly as they possibly can to show us just all of the mistakes that they made or that they perceived to have made. And they really wanted to hone in on Juicy's like lusting after Zane Phillips the whole time and just like all of the thirst and everything for Juicy as like that's what Juicy did wrong. And they were saying that Nini didn't really like expand upon the character once she settled into the character. And I guess they also did a good job of highlighting that. None of what they did at the end of the day was going to match what Mikey and Darlene did, because they did have really good chemistry individually. They were both so funny. Moments of both of them breaking character happened along the way, and it was both fine when they did it. Darlene breaks character. So the biggest spot for me when they broke character was when they were reading the tongue twisters. And Mikey, so Darlene gets caught up on it. Then Mikey gets caught up on it, but Mikey's like, oh my God. And then she gets back into it and keeps going. And then when Darlene is like spitting on her and Mikey's like, spit on me again. And Darlene could not hold back from laughing. But it was all natural, and it was giving like talk show hosts, and it was giving like these two have a good rapport with each other. They have a good dynamic. And like Ru was saying in the critiques, I would watch this every day.
Yeah, I mean, it was definitely, dynamic duo. A lot of people were saying, "Oh my God, they're the next coming of Katya and Trixie." I want to see the web series. I need to see it happen. The tongue twister of it all was very reminiscent of America's Next Top Model. They had the contestants, I forget which season, don't ask me which season, but there was a season where they had to read the teleprompter, and it was a lot of crazy stuff coming up on it, and it was like, how well can you handle this under pressure. So once again, America's Next Top Model rearing its ugly head in this competition. But I think that Mikey did particularly well with that, and I think that Nini also did particularly well with that, to the point where Ross was like, "Oh, okay, I thought that was going to be the thing that got you gone." But like you said, I think what really was great about Darlene was that she took that and like was like, okay, this is supposed, like, don't take this seriously. Like, this isn't a reading competition. This is, how well can I just like be wacky under pressure? And how, like, it was about the irreverence of it all. And I think that there was a nice balance where Mikey sort of like held the reins, and Darlene was like, okay, let me add a little bit of fun. Whereas with Nini and Juicy, I feel like both of them were trying to hold the reins and actually be morning talk show hosts. I'm like, this is not GMA, y'all. Like, this is, we're not, do not take it seriously. And I think that they both were. Not to mention Ross, and I don't know how much of it was editing, like you said. Ross can repeatedly being like, time's up, wrap it up, wrap it up, wrap it up. And I don't know if Juicy just didn't see him or if she did and just didn't know how to like wrap it up.
Yeah.
But Homegirl just kept talking and talking and talking and asking questions and being thirsty and being horny and just like, ooh.
I mean, they also call out Juicy at some point in the critiques about like, she's got, you know, she's all the way there with this and with that, but like life experience was, they were like, oh, she's missing a little bit of that you can tell sometimes in her performances. And I was like, even in this one a little bit, just like, has Juicy ever sat down and watched a morning talk show? Like, she's 24. Are the kids these days watching morning talk shows? Have they ever had them? Maybe, I don't know. Like maybe when you were younger and, you know, a parent or someone had it on.
Did you watch the morning talk shows, Matt?
I mean, yeah, they were. I think we're a lot. I can't say this for sure. I don't know what the kids these days are watching, but I feel like, you know, kind of as the years have gone on, they've become a little less relevant to each generation. And I feel like our generation had a little bit of like paying attention to some of them, and even still, like some of them right now. Like I love to have clips of them come across my timeline, but that's really what it is, of just like watching clips as they make their way to Twitter, TikTok, Blue Sky, all that stuff. So I don't know, just a little bit of that could have been a factor here, but also just kind of overdoing it with certain bits, the horniness of it all, like squeezing her head in between that man's thighs just to be like, you know, it's like, this is funny, but as a talk show host, I feel like there were ways to like, you know, kind of rein it in a little bit more. And that's what they were getting at.
Yeah, I think, you know, it's all about balance, as most things are. I think you have to like know when to lean into the bit and when to pull back, when to start the joke, when to end it. And I think that she was so focused on being funny and being an actual host that I think that she forgot about like how wackadoodle this whole entire thing is. And the same thing for Nini. Like, Nini's not off the hook either. Like, yes, Juicy did considerably worse according to the edit, but you know, and Nini, you know, she did her best to try to like rein things in and be like, all right, so we're gonna do this. And Juicy's like, hold on. So like, I get it, but also Nini, you also were, there wasn't a lot of humor to the performance. Like, the critique that Nini got this week, I feel like is the critique that they tried to give Jane last week, where everything was like a bit too canned. I felt that way about Nini this time. So, you know.
Well, maybe we just didn't need 2 acting challenges back to back, the Final 4 and Final 5. But
yeah,
you know, maybe that's just me.
So then we have Darlene and Mikey, as we already talked about. The two of them kind of like really hit it out of the park. Lots of chemistry, lots of jokes, lots of fun. And the judges agree because the both of them end up being winners. Did we see that coming or not?
Yes and no. I mean, again, with the shift of like it feels like they're really trying to get us hyped up on Darlene, and I hope for good reason. I'm rooting for Darlene going forward. That, like, I don't know, maybe they were like, we got to get her one more win. If anybody's paying attention to track record more than anything else, Darlene was sitting on one win and waiting for a second. So now Mikey joins the illustrious 4 wins club, and Darlene now at least has a second to hang her hat on. But I don't know. I mean, yeah, they were both really good. I think if they were going to pick a winner, honestly, I wouldn't have been surprised if they just picked Darlene, because she's been leaning into the stupid and she's making them crack up every single episode. So they want to
You
reward
said
that.
that you're rooting for Darlene now. Who are you rooting for before?
I mean, I know it was predictable, but I thought Jane deserved it. And look, I know people hate the word deserved when it comes to competition, but I thought Jane was doing so well, and I was fine with her being the winner because I watched her put in the work week after week. So I was, I guess, just expecting that. I don't know. It's hard to like if I didn't like Jane Don't, maybe I would have been rooting against her, but I liked her fine. So I was rooting for her, I guess you could say.
Okay.
I
Okay.
don't know. By the way, can we the Tic Tac chats obviously are in this episode as
Oh
well.
yes. The famous Tic Tac chats for the queens where they get the chance to really sit down and have a one-on-one with Brew. And this time there's a bit of a twist, painting with a twist.
AI
Where
painting
RuPaul will, as she's speaking with the queens, will draw a portrait of all of them as they're talking about their lives and their struggles and what brought them to this competition and how they feel like they've been doing, all of that. And I think the main theme for Nini was a lot of what we've been hearing about in her critiques about, not having enough humanity in her performances, being a little bit too surgical, and her sort of like, which I don't necessarily know if I agree with everything that RuPaul says about Nini. Like, I feel like Nini sort of like acquiesced to it because that's what you do when you're in the competition. But I don't necessarily. I feel like I have an idea of who Nini is. I feel like I get some humanity from Nini, but I guess it's not registering to RuPaul and the judges. I don't know.
I think it's fair to say that we haven't gotten as much from her as we've gotten from some of the other queens. When you try to get her to open up, she will, but I mean, what do you know about Nini Coco over the course of the season? That she's blunt, that she, says what everybody else is shocked to hear. Like, she's just like, I mean, the bluntness of it all is really what they keep highlighting about her, but that's not like personal, that's not like really like telling me more about you and your journey and how you got here. So I
Yeah.
think she's been taking it, but I don't know if she's just like felt like she has more to share, or she has more that she wants to share at this time. So I guess
Yeah.
that's tough if that's a barrier that you've kind of found yourself at. I mean, I did appreciate, though, Nini here is the only one to call out, yeah, that AI painting is horrible, Rue, put it away. But
I
yeah,
mean, hers was the most normal out of all of them. All the other ones had like they were like made into like centaurs and unicorns and abstract paintings and all types of stuff. It was crazy.
yeah.
I really appreciated Darlene's. I thought that her talk about, you know, reaching sobriety and doing it because she thought it was worth it to save the relationship that she had with her was it, or that she married now, fiance, husband,
She
I
just got
can't,
married. I think it was
husband.
in between 2 episodes. The past 2 episodes, it was after Jane's elimination. It was like, oh, trying to keep an eye on what these girls were up to, especially Jane. Like, is she okay? And then it was like, oh yeah, she's at Darlene's wedding with like a half of the cast that I guess didn't have a gig that week and were able to make it. So Darlene, congratulations!
Yeah,
Just got married this past week.
yeah.
But yeah, she's been with her partner, I think she said, for 9 years. And they both, I think she said, got sober at the same time. And
Hmm.
obviously, that's a story that Rue connects with.
Yeah.
So both in
And
this
I
chat and
think,
then later on really, makes that bond.
yeah, I think that has a lot to do with why she won this week as well, which, it is what it is. Is it fair necessarily? No. But like, do I get it from RuPaul? Yeah, because
Well, it's just, I think it's not necessarily specifically her story. It's just like the fact that she is opening up and that she's really letting us
right.
in, the final hour here. And that's what they want from everybody.
You're right. No, you're right. The Tic Tac chats are all about like, that real moment of connection outside of all of the shenanigans and
Mhm.
chicanery. And I think that RuPaul felt really rooted in that moment with her. So yeah.
And on the flip side, Mikey Meeks is a Pokemon. How do you feel about that?
I,
That's a
I
good
miss
Pokemon name.
I missed the Pokemon train growing up. So all the Pokemon humor is so lost on me. But if they like it, I love it.
I love that they were also like, well, you've already won so much money here. She's won 20K so far. That's crazy.
That is crazy.
So who needs the grand prize? But she obviously wants it. And Juicy had also some compelling story here, talking about how she stopped talking to her father for 6 years, but
Yeah.
luckily that relationship has reformed and seems to be in a good place right now. So
Yeah, and
these are all nice.
a similar story to Darlene, and like trying to get clean, and like, getting to that rock bottom where you realize, bitch, like I can't take care of me, and nor can the people that I depend on. They can't, like, I need to figure this out for myself and like pick myself up. So yeah,
Yeah.
so
All right, let me pull this back up if we're
yeah,
ready
let's talk
for it.
about these looks real quick. Tonight's theme was drag excellence. This was supposed to be your quintessential drag, and Mikey Meeks went for like an outer worldly look. I have to agree with the guest host Tiana Taylor in that I don't love how visible that wire is that is like hanging in the stars and all that stuff around her head. Maybe something a little bit more less visible. Fish wire wasn't going to do it, Tiana. You know how flimsy fish wire is? That's not going to work. But I understood what she was talking about. Or maybe like take that off entirely and make it a train. Make it like wires and wires of stars and moons and celestial bodies to add to the back, add some drama. Other
Yeah.
than that, I think the look is beautiful.
I think she looked great. I mean, it closed out a really good week for her. I guess I agree. And again, I'm not the fashion person, but I guess I'm like a little distracted by the wire being in like such odd shapes. I'm looking for either like a full arc to like make it make sense to me or not. But I don't know, 10 times better than I'd ever do. Darlene Mitchell here, who is cracking me up every time. I mean, she
Those
might win
damn
the season
shoes.
alone off the shoes. Just like as she says in her chat with Rue, of just like she knows what the rules are, but she's making it her mission to ignore them. And it's like, who just says that? Who just does that? Some people, she's not the first one to like go about the competition with that philosophy. And RuPaul is always going to
And
respect that. If
she
you
got Michelle on her side about
if
it
you can do
too.
it right. Michelle's like looking for the shoes now. She's like, show me the shoes. There they are. There's Darlene Mitchell with the shoes. So it's working for her. It really is. And I mean, look, I don't think she's had a bad look at all lately. She's just been making everything she puts together perfect for her.
I mean, I do think this is the weakest out of the four. I think she looks fine. I do think that the dress is a bit pedestrian. Like when I think best drag, I don't necessarily know if this is this really your best, Darlene. If it is, but again, I think the execution is top notch, and I think that the little nod to the shoes really like helps her. I mean, she was already on an irreverent arc for this episode, and I think that was just like the cherry on top. So
a couple of weeks ago when she stomped those shoes, was that during the was it the roast maybe that she like stomped her shoes on the runway and she's like, look, I got
look, Michelle.
I lost it. And then Juicy here dripping in gold.
Yeah, this is absolutely
drag excellence. Like
ugly.
That's what I picture. That's what oh, you just said ugly.
I hate it. I'm so
Someone's
sorry.
got to clip that. I'm like, that's great. That's perfect. And Aman's like ugly at the exact same time.
What is going on? What is going on here? It looks crazy. I mean, you say you're not the fashion expert. Maybe me either am I, because I don't get it.
I mean, but that's what like that's from where I'm coming from, that I don't know. Like maybe like the fashion designers of the world would be like, oh, maybe they're on your side. But I'm like, gold is always going to capture my attention, and just like there's a lot going on. I'm like, yeah, that looks excellent. Drag excellence.
What is going on in the head? Like, what is that on her head? What is it? Like,
it's
what?
Excellence.
Okay, next.
Do you happen to remember Candace's look at the traders? The murder breakfast or dinner or whatever it was? Candace had like this whole big like thing going on, and I feel like people had similarly like thoughts to yours of just like, is that too much? It's not important if you don't remember it right now, but
I I
reminding me
I
of
do
it.
remember, but that was like a bit more uniform. This one side looks different from the other, which asymmetry is done in fashion all the time, but it just looks like someone threw up gold pennies on her. Like, what is going on?
Hey, anyone that wants to throw up gold on me, come find me.
You heard it here first.
Nini Coco, nice and pointy here. Getting to the point, you could say that for sure. Yeah, Tiana Taylor wanted to rip this off her body to take it home with herself.
Yeah, she wanted
So
to wear it to the BET
yeah,
or the Source Awards.
the look here, again, maybe I'm not the expert, but I don't know. I thought this was fun. Obviously, unfortunately, bad for a lip sync that required a lot of movement. So there was not much she could do there. I'm always waiting when they're in a spot like that where it's like, okay, can you move at all? I'm like, is there something you can rip off of this? Is there a zipper you could zip on up and start moving your legs a little bit more? But there was not. The only thing that she could do was like break those pointy thingies down and start moving a little bit more.
Yeah.
And then she's like holding them along as she goes.
Always get so sad when queens have to like destroy their art in
I
order
know. I'm
to
like,
lip
I hope
sync.
that you could put that back together. But I mean, especially as the lip sync was going on, which I guess we're basically at that at this point, she probably recognized that she needed to do a little bit more because Juicy was crushing it. And we're at the final four. This could be going to the final three. Maybe it's a double Shantae. Obviously, it wasn't. So you need to do anything you can to secure your spot. And I guess the question for you, sorry to take your question asking, but do you think Juicy won? Because I do.
Oh yeah, for sure. I think Juicy won, and I paid close attention to both of their mouths when they would show it on camera to see if is anyone faltering on the
Yeah.
lyrics. Both of them are pretty good. Both of them knew the words. Both of them it meant a lot to both of them. Like both of them wanted that finale so bad. And I do think that I think that Juicy won, but I also think I can understand, like, if you think, is it another Kenya Michaels versus uh Latrice Royale situation where Juicy's doing a bit too much for the song? Uh Maybe at certain points, maybe you do one flip instead of two into the dip. Maybe you give us a little bit more storytelling because she kind of like just busted out with it. So maybe you build a little bit more. But at the same time, like, girl, she didn't lip sync, like, what is this, number 4 now? So it's like she's pulled out all the stops already. There's no more stops left. So
Yeah. First of all, so glad now I know the name of this song because I've heard it a million times, but I never knew what the lyrics were. I never knew what was the title of the song. I have listened to plenty of Chapel Roan, but I don't know. Maybe it's not I'm not growing up with knowing every song and every word like I am with
yeah, no.
the aforementioned Gagas of the world.
Mhm.
But I thought this was fun and it made me want to go listen to the song. Even though Chapel's got a lot going on for herself in the mainstream media these days. She's always in some headline. But this was it was still fun. Sad to lose Juicy just because she is so much fun when it gets to her performance. When we get to a lip sync, she crushes it. Earlier on in the season, I was like, oh, Juicy may not be that long for this world. But then the first time that she did a lip sync, and I said, oh, she's going to be impossible to eliminate, like really tough. And she was. She went how many lip syncs? She was in the bottom. This is the fourth time.
This is 4, yeah.
And obviously survived the first three. And if it was just straight up who won this lip sync, she would have survived a fourth time. So she certainly has a lot of skill, talent to bring to drag in general, the competition here. And I would be so surprised, like genuinely surprised, if we don't see a Juicy 2.0 on All Stars at some point. And I think that she could do really well there too. Maybe take a
Yeah.
couple of years, whatever. But whenever that happens, and if it happens long enough away from now, I think she could be a contender.
Yeah. I feel like she's at first I wanted to compare her to Georges, but like I'm not going to because RuPaul absolutely loves Georges. Whereas with Juicy, it feels like RuPaul's continuously like, who are you, girl?
Yeah.
What's going on? But I do think that there's definitely a story for her to return and come back and,
Is
you
she
know.
to you the front runner for next week's Lip Sync Lalaparuza?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, I think it's her. It's obviously Mia. Um,
I mean, I think you gotta, and like maybe I'm just stupid at this point, but I think you gotta give Jane a little bit of credit to like be a contender there.
I was gonna say Jane. So like, Jane's not bad
Try to get
at
her something, but
performing either.
I don't know.
Honestly, I would not be surprised if Jane wins because maybe RuPaul had a moment of lucidity after that and be like, you know what, I had that girl fucked up. Let me bring her back and give her some money. So
Yeah. Juicy's definitely, if I had to just pick one, I think, it's just hard to go against the lip sync assassin here of the season. But that's next week. And did you hear they're doing all RuPaul songs?
all RuPaul songs. I just want to hear peanut butter again. I want to hear peanut butter, peanut peanut. I want to hear peanut butter. I want to hear Glamazon. I want to hear Catwalk, even though Catwalk really isn't that great of a lip sync song. But yeah, I'm excited. I'm excited.
Yeah. 2 weeks to go until the finale. Is Darlene not your winner of choice? Is that?
No, I think at this point I really am rooting for Mikey. And it was before even like her recent like emergence as a front runner, before even Jane winning. I was kind of like, or Jane going home rather. I was kind of like, you know what, Mikey, I'm kind of like, I'm picking up what she's putting down. I like her vibe. I think what really sealed it for me was the week where she did the I forget what the runway theme was, but where it was like when they were repurposing past Queen's materials and she made that like, Swiss Alps look, ski lift look. I was like, oh, okay, I like this. All right, I see you, girl. So yeah, I think Mikey is my winner pick right now. Yeah, for sure.
So I've already said that mine's Darlene, but I did see a tweet today. I think it was from Dawn, that was basically saying, so like, I don't know, calling out the fans to an extent, maybe including people like me who were like, oh, Jane should have won. Jane was robbed. Because why? Because Jane was doing so well this season, because her track record was so good, and because she, quote unquote, deserved to be the winner of the season. And now Mikey has kind of stepped into that spot. 4 wins, has done extremely well all season. And so it's like, well, why aren't you just moving that logic from Jane over to Mikey? Because there's so many people, again, that are just so on board for Darlene. And so I was like really thinking about that tweet and that question throughout the day as we were getting ready for this. And I don't know if I have like a great answer. I think it's really just what I said earlier of like, once I realized that Jane wasn't going to be the winner and this season wasn't going to be just crowning someone who definitively did the best track record wise, all this stuff wise, it still could
it
be
makes you
that
question like why
Mikey.
even. Yeah,
It's like, well, what is it that we're looking for in this season's winner? Is it, if it's not about the track record, then maybe it is just about who we feel the winner is, who we want the winner to be. Obviously, we have nothing to do with it. It's all RuPaul. But like, it really feels like that energy is out there right now for Darlene. It feels like the momentum is there. That's like my heart pick at this point. I don't know if I can confidently make it my head pick, but I wouldn't, like, if I was putting a number on it, I would probably put it at like 50% Mikey, 49% Darlene, and 1% Nini Coco is kind of where I'm at.
Yeah, no, I think that her odds are definitely. I agree with you. I think her odds are more or higher than maybe one might give her credit for sure. Only because she's been such a dark horse and has been, entertaining RuPaul for quite some time in the competition now. So, would I be mad at a Darlene win? Absolutely not. Would I prefer a Mikey win? Yeah, I think so. But yeah, I mean, yeah, we will see. Like you said, we have the Lip Sync Lalaparuza next week. And then the finale after that. I guess I'm wondering if the finale is going to be in combination with the reunion. If we have a reunion.
Has there been a reunion lately? I don't think so.
There hasn't been one.
I don't think we're getting a reunion.
Yeah, so we are closing in on the end of this season. Matt, thank you so much for stepping in for this week and sharing your thoughts on everything thus far and all things Drag Race Season 18.
Of course.
Where can the people find you and what are you up to?
I think you know what I'm up to, because I'm up to a lot of stuff with you over on the Diary Room podcast. If you like
what's that?
talking to each other on a podcast, sometimes with another person with us, then we're doing that all the time, talking about Big Brother and trying to find the best player of all time. We're on the second round of the competition where we are trying to whittle it down, as Aman says every week, to find the best player. We've talked to so far Taryn and Kat Dunn in the first 2 episodes, and this week's episode coming up, Brendan and Rachel. So you got to check that one out. We could not have been more excited to talk to Brenchel. And I don't know if we've publicly said this anywhere, but we're here together. So the next guest after Brenchel, we're talking to Donnie Thompson. After that, Brittany Haynes. So lock in with us if you haven't already on the Diary Room, because those episodes are recorded. They were fun as hell. And it's only going to keep being more fun as the rest of the podcast goes. So check out the Diary Room. I'm also on the Free Agents podcast talking to Brian Scally about House of Villains, watching old school seasons of The Challenge. And we just launched a new side project, I guess you could say, over there for Free Agents. It's called Free Agents MTV. Millennial TV, some of the TV shows that we all watched as kids, us millennials. I'm talking to AJ Norris about Drake and Josh. We're going to recap the whole show, and Frail Mary and I are doing.
I'm going to tune into that.
Frail Mary and I are doing Sweet Life of Zach and Cody. So the first episodes of both of those.
Is this the sibling series? What's going on?
That's how it started. We're gonna hit as many shows as we can as time goes on from those Nickelodeon and Disney Channel days. But we're starting with those 2. A lot of fun so far. So check that out. It's a new feed, Free Agents, Millennial TV feed. But yeah, I got a lot. So check out any of that might interest you. And excited to finish out the season of Drag Race.
Yes. All right. Well, you can find me everywhere at Aman Adwin. And as Matt said, you can find me over there at the Diary Room, wherever you get your podcasts, or on YouTube, all that good stuff. And that's kind of it for me. I'm in school. I'm tired. Okay. But I'm here and I'm queer. And once again, Matt, thank you so much for joining us on this week's episode of the Drag Race Recap. Beth will be back with us next week. She had to handle some business this week, okay? So that's all I got to say about that. But thank you guys again for joining us, and we will see you next time.
This is RHAP. We know reality TV.